Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Beating the Backlog. Today, we'll be looking at Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Xbox One. Well, this video was a long time in the making. Sorry if it seemed like this series would never start. This game was quite long and took me quite some time to get through. I'll discuss that a little later. Red Dead Redemption 2 is obviously the sequel to Red Dead Redemption, released in 2010 on the Xbox 360 and PS3 by Rockstar Games. I was highly anticipating this game, much like, everyone else. Pretty much every Rockstar game I've played has been a blast. Intriguing stories, fun characters, wacky gameplay, all around just a lot of fun. Going into this game, I was expecting no different, and while a lot of the classic Rockstar tropes were at work here, there were a couple of things that seemed a little bit different to me. I got the game at launch, so in a sense it wasn't really in my backlog, but I guess I played it immediately so it wouldn't become part of my backlog. Anyway, let's not hold up any longer. Here's Red Dead Redemption 2 on Beating the Backlog.
I asked you a question.
What do you think?
We can't stay here. That much is obvious. Where are we gonna run to? I mean, they chased us from the west. They chased us over the mountains. They ran us into the sea.
Red Dead Redemption 2's story acts as a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1. The story follows Dutch Vanderland's gang as they are on the run from the law and looking to gain enough money to retire and live normal lives. You take control of Arthur Morgan, a veteran member of this gang. Overall, I felt a strong sense of unity and connection with the gang members as time went on. You got to learn a little bit about each of them, and they all interacted with Arthur in their own unique ways. This made some of their deaths much more impactful.
Don't feel right. I could have told you.
Damn. Wow, holy shit. You motherfuckers. As the gang is forced to relocate from place to place, leaving behind a trail of destruction, you get to see a variety of different locations in the game's world. The mountains with their everlasting blizzards, the sprawling plains of the area around Valentine, and even a swamp located outside of the world's big city, Saint Denis. This relocation and showcase of drastically different environments gave me San Andreas vibes. We'll talk a little bit about San Andreas again later. The game's big turning point plot-wise involves when Arthur learns that he has contracted tuberculosis and has a limited life ahead of him. This part of the game reveals one of the big themes of the story, which is self-reflection. Arthur reflects on his actions, and he begins working to make sure as many people as possible are safe before he dies. To try and sum up the rest of the plot as quickly as I can here, Dutch starts to reveal his true selfish self, Micah Bell turns out to be working for the Pinkertons, Arthur and fellow gang member Sadie Adler ensure that those who deserve a better life make it out of the gang safely. The gang collapses and is divided as they are chased away by Pinkertons, and Arthur dies after ensuring John Marston reaches safety. Yes, John Marston, from the first Red Dead game. You do get to control John Marston for the epilogue portion of the story, and the game wraps up with Marston owning the Beecher Hope land that we see in Red Dead 1, and Micah is killed by Dutch. The credits show some where are they now scenes for some of the surviving characters, and even show the two government agents who initiate the plot of the first Red Dead. So overall it combines and ties up the stories of the two games very well. Overall, I very much enjoyed this story and was invested the whole way through. Rockstar usually has a great way of keeping you drawn in with amazing cutscenes and cinematic moments. Speaking of, this game was very cinematic, more so than any other Rockstar game I've played. A few horse rides throughout the game would use cinematic camera angles coupled with excellent vocal tracks to create a movie-like feeling, something that the first game did as well a couple times. The scripted events and such are there too, to also help with the feeling of being in a movie. I pretty much never stopped playing story missions in this game, it was just that intriguing. Of course, it was also because I kind of felt a little burnout at a certain point while playing, but I'll be getting to that in a second. Not much to say in terms of gameplay. All of the classic Rockstar tropes are here. Long rides through the game world, during or in between story missions, insane attention to detail, and a big game world to explore, to boot, filled with random encounters and side missions galore. Rockstar is definitely a company that is only going to get better as time goes on. I'm sure this game pushes the 8th gen consoles to their limits, or at least has to come close. The amount of content is actually insane. Sadly, I didn't really go for much of the side content on my first playthrough. I chose to focus on story missions only, partly because I was so intrigued in the story, and also because I was feeling a little burnout and I just wanted to finish the game. The game is really long. I will play the game again at some point though, and I'll for sure check out more of the side content. At least 75% of the missions in this game end in firefights. Thankfully, Rockstar knows how to make these fun, so it never really becomes a hassle. The Deadeye ability appears once again, and of course it's still fun to use. It makes you feel like a real badass. Some of the guns do feel a little sluggish to use, and the aspect of maintaining your gun is a cool little detail, but it can be a bit annoying sometimes. The gunplay in this game overall felt more akin to GTA 4's than anything else to me. A little bit kinda sluggish and clunky, but it still worked. And dueling returns, but in a bit of a different form. More clunky form. You charge up your Deadeye in this version and activate at the appropriate time to secure the kill. This promotes paying more attention to the enemy in case they try to do something clever like dive to cover or pull out a knife and throw it, which is really cool, but the actual controller aspect of this version of dueling just doesn't work too well. You see, you have to lightly hold down the trigger to charge up Deadeye, then press down and release to activate. In theory, it sounds great, but some controllers just don't respond to this kind of input too well. They're a little too sensitive and whatnot. And this made me dread the dueling sections of this game when they came up, or the gun drawing sections of the game as well. Those are the same thing, but thankfully this didn't happen too much throughout the main story. A couple of other little things about gameplay. One pretty major aspect of the gameplay were the stats and the cores. You could train certain stats like stamina and health and they would increase permanently, which is something that is relatively common in Rockstar games, nowadays at least. You could also train your horse's health and stamina. The cores of the stats are aspects that you have to maintain as you play. For instance, when your health core runs low, or maybe your stamina core or your Deadeye core, you have to eat food, or you can take medicine or even take drinks in order to refill these cores. And this would affect how your stamina, your health, etc. actually charge up, and how fast they charge up over time. Your horse also had cores. In addition to this, Arthur or John would also gain or lose weight depending on how often you ate throughout the game. This inclusion of the stat mechanics and the cores and all of that was another thing that reminded me of San Andreas, which was one of the few GTA games to have such mechanics implemented in a major way. Of course, being such a big game, I was bound to run into a couple of glitches on my playthrough. Some of them were pretty funny, others were really annoying, but also kinda intriguing and strange at the same time.
Like a good time. Put the man down, gentlemen.
What the fuck? Oh my god, what the fuck just happened to him, dude? The horse pulled a gun. When we first saw the trailers for this game, we knew it was gonna look pretty good. But god damn, it looks so much better when you're actually playing the game. As I said, this game most likely pushes the 8th gen consoles to their limits, partly because of these absolutely stunning graphics. I could hardly believe I was playing a video game at times. I usually don't judge games entirely on their graphical merit, but the gorgeous visuals definitely added to the overall cinematic experience in this game and definitely helped in keeping me invested. The frame rate was also pretty good throughout, and I was playing on a normal Xbox One, not a One X. The soundtrack was composed by Woody Jackson, who also composed the soundtrack for Red Dead Redemption 1. Needless to say, he definitely hit it out of the ballpark yet again. This game's soundtrack was wonderfully fitting when it needed to be. Nice peaceful tracks for horse rides throughout the land, and intense pounding tracks for the game's many firefights. The vocal tracks used in certain cinematic moments were very effective and wonderfully made as well. This soundtrack was a huge collaborative effort by many noteworthy musicians and producers, and is one that will stand as one of gaming's greatest.
Stand and shake up amidst the crash of the world. Cruel, cruel world, I'm gone.
Overall, I very much enjoyed Red Dead Redemption 2. It took me a hell of a long time to beat, as evidenced by the gap between this video and the intro video. Sorry about that. But all of that time was well spent in this amazing world, brilliant story, and absolutely fantastic visuals and soundtrack. One day I will come back to this game and perhaps 100% it, and see more of what it has to offer, especially in terms of the side missions. But for now, I am perfectly satisfied with my experience of this story alone. I would highly recommend this game to anyone who has a knack for open world games, games with great stories, and games with fun firefights. I would especially recommend it if you like Rockstar's other games. This one is just as good, if not better. And there you have it, Red Dead Redemption 2. About a month in the making, but I loved it. And overall, it really just made me want to go back and play through Red Dead Redemption 1 again. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to stay tuned for the next edition of Beating the Backlog. Adios!